You ever notice how a single image can stop a room full of guys in its tracks? One accidental swipe on a phone, one headline thumbnail, instant silence, eyes glued. A weird mix of curiosity and a little bit of guilt. Why does that happen so often with boys? Why does nudity seem to pull them in faster, harder, and more openly than many girls? Here's the crazy part. It's not one simple answer. It's a tangle of biology, culture, tech, and awkward teenage group dynamics. You won't believe how many everyday moments are shaped by this. But wait, there's a twist. The obvious men are visual answer is only the tip of the iceberg. Stick with me for the next 12 minutes and I'll show you the pattern behind the stare, why it matters, and what to do about it if it's causing trouble in your life or relationships. By the end of this, you'll see nudity not as a moral panic or a simple weakness, but as a reveal of how our brains, phones, and peers collude. Picture this: a college frat room, a group chat, a 17-year-old at his first office job, a married man scrolling at night after everyone's asleep. Different people, same reaction. The image appears, heads turn. Laughter, a hushed, dude. Sometimes it's playful. Sometimes it's awkward. Sometimes it becomes a problem. For girls, the scene often looks different. They might avoid the image. They might privately look and feel complicated feelings. They rarely make it into a locker room display. That difference is real to many people. It shows up in awkward texts, in arguments about respect, in the "why did you send that?" fights, and in 1,000 micro moments where consent and respect are supposed to live. The pain is real. A woman who gets unsolicited photos feels objectified. A guy who can't stop seeking images feels ashamed and stuck. A parent finds their kid's browser history and panics. The tension spreads into relationships. "You never want to be intimate with me," a partner might say. "You're always looking at other people," another may cry. Some men worry they're weak. Some women worry they're not desired. And look, both sides are telling the truth about what they feel. But we also have to be honest about what fuels those moments. It's not just naughty curiosity or moral failing, it's layered. The first layer is physical. Visual cues hit fast. The second is developmental. Boys are often socialized into curiosity and competition around sexual images. The third is cultural. Media normalizes nudity while shaming female agency around it. The fourth, technology. Phones put taboo on a loop and algorithms optimize it. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm explaining why this pattern is common and why it keeps repeating. Next, we'll unspool what's happening under the hood, from hormones to algorithms. And I'll tell you 3 surprising reasons why guys often react more to nudity than girls. Let's dig through the psychological layers. First, evolution and biology. Here's the baseline. Humans are mammals. Visual cues matter. That's basic. For many mammal species, visual signals are quick, reliable indicators of reproductive opportunity. For humans, cues like youth, symmetry, skin health, and secondary sexual characteristics carry meaning on a biological level. Men's bodies, on average, are wired so that visual sexual cues tend to trigger faster arousal pathways. It doesn't mean men are less complex emotionally. It simply means certain circuits fire quicker when a visual stimulus appears. That's one piece. The next piece is hormones. Testosterone plays a role. It doesn't make someone a monster. It nudges libido, curiosity, and novelty seeking. Puberty floods the brain with hormones and curiosity spikes. Boys often get a double hit. Hormones plus powerful social signals that compare, compete, and reward the display of sexual knowledge. Now the neuroscience bit, fast and clear. The brain loves prediction and reward. Visual nudity is novel for a developing brain. Dopamine lights up. The more novel or taboo something is, the bigger the surprise reward. Porn and explicit images exploit this novelty reward loop. Algorithms take a tiny curiosity and feed it more and more. That's why one click becomes a long session. But hold up, biology is not destiny. There's a huge social layer. Boys are often taught, implicitly, to talk about sexual images as a form of bonding. There are rituals, passing around a screenshot, joking about someone's body, boasting about what you've seen. It's a social currency in many male groups. That's learned behavior, and it amplifies the biological response. Think of a group of teenage boys showing each other images. The dopamine doubles. You get both the visual reward and the social reward. Meanwhile, girls are often socialized differently. From a young age, many girls learn that showing or enjoying nudity is risky. They get more messages about reputation, safety, and being judged. That shapes how curiosity is expressed. Women might still be curious. They often consume sexual images privately or in different formats, and they place more weight on context, emotion, and story. So women's sexual interest is often less purely visual and more contextual. Here's an experiment you can picture. Researchers show participants short clips and measure where their eyes go. Men's gaze often gravitates quickly to sexualized body parts. Women's gaze spends more time on faces and context cues. Not always, not everyone. But as an average pattern, it shows a difference. That's the kind of data scientists see. Now add culture and economics. The media industry knows who clicks. Porn and social media monetize male attention. That molds content. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they all push visuals that hook. Nudity and partial nudity are edited into mainstream culture in ways that reward male attention while still policing. Female agency. The OnlyFans boom complicated this. Many women found a new way to monetize their bodies. But who consumes that content? Mostly men. The structure stayed roughly the same. Men consume. Women produce. Power and profit flows in specific ways. Next layer, personal meaning and shame. A man raised in a culture that makes jokes about sexual conquest might feel embarrassed if he struggles to control viewing habits. Shame pushes behavior into secrecy. Secrecy increases novelty. Novelty feeds the loop more. It's not rare, it's common. Another surprising factor is difference in sexual scripts. Men often learn an action script. Look, get aroused, act. Women often learn a relational script. Emotions, context, connection. Not better or worse. Just different patterns that influence how nudity lands. Here's a mini story. Jason, 19, found a friend's old phone in a dorm. He saw images and felt a shock of curiosity he hadn't anticipated. He shared a pic with his roommates. They laughed. He felt popular. Later, he felt guilty when his girlfriend found out. That guilt pushed him deeper into secret browsing. His brain learned. Secret viewing equals relief plus shame equals intense reward. Not a moral failing. A learned loop. Another story. Priya, 27, posted tasteful nude art on her private account. She expected respect. Instead, she got both praise and predators. The praise made her feel powerful. The predators made her feel unsafe. She got to choose how to present herself, but the audience's reaction shaped her meaning. That's culture. Hitting a personal nerve. You might think this is all biology or all shame. But here's the twist. Technology amplifies both. The next section will show the worst-case outcomes if we ignore that amplification. Now imagine we ignore all this. We shrug and say, boys will be boys. That's where things go sideways. Normalizing quick, unexamined visual consumption builds a culture where consent gets murkier, relationships suffer, and expectations warp. Let me be blunt. When nudity becomes a commodity and a punchline, people stop seeing other people. They see targets. They see objects. That fuels everything. From micro-level disrespect to harassing messages to the nightmare of non-consensual image sharing. Real lives get damaged. Intimacy erodes. Partners feel betrayed. Young people grow up with unrealistic expectations about bodies and sex. Boys who spend hours on porn or image feeds often report later problems, difficulty focusing during real intimacy, anxiety, or a diminished sense of connection. Women report a worse body image climate and increased pressure to perform or monetize bodies. Worse when this dynamic meets power imbalances at work, in school, in relationships. The result can be harassment, exploitation, even violence. The stakes are clear. What starts as curiosity can become harm if we let social norms and technology run unchecked. But it's not hopeless. There are concrete, practical moves that change patterns. In the next section, I'll give psychology-backed steps to break the loop. No moralizing, just tools that work. Wait for next episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. We will come back soon.